耻是诺贝尔文学奖获得者 J.M. 库切创作了一本深刻但是令人不安的小说。他以南非种族隔离以及其终结之后的社会巨变为背景，揭示了这片土地上复杂的历史创伤和权力重组。种族隔离制度曾经使南非的黑人遭受了长达数十年的系统性暴力、剥削与压迫，而随着这一制度的终结，南非社会进入了充满矛盾与不确定性的转型期。白人群体从曾经的统治阶层逐渐沦为边缘人群，面临着社区暴力与历史清算的双重压力。这种历史的复杂性、黑人曾经的苦难与白人在新时代的困境，构成了小说中无法回避的背景，也让个人的命运与国家集体创伤紧密交织。库切作为出生在南非的作家，对这片土地上的历史问题有着深刻的洞察。他的作品不仅是对个人堕落的反思，更是对一个国家集体创伤的深刻剖析。小说讲述了南非白人教授大卫·努里在种族隔离结束之后的社会巨变中的堕落与挣扎。努里原本是开普敦一所技术大学的文学教授，生活看似平静，但他内心的空虚和对权力的滥用逐渐将他推向深渊。他与一名年轻学生梅纳里·艾萨克斯发生了不正当关系，最终因为这段关系被曝光而失去了教职，名誉扫地。失去一切的努里前往东开普敦省，投靠他的女儿露西，一个在乡村经营农场的同性恋者。起初，乡村生活的宁静似乎为努里提供了喘息的机会，但很快，一场突如其来的暴力事件打破了表面的平静。3名当地黑人男子闯入农场，强暴了露西，并试图杀死努里。这一事件不仅摧毁了露西的身心，也让努里陷入了更深的无力感。露西选择默默忍受，拒绝报警或寻求报复，而努里则无法理解他的选择，父女关系因此愈发紧张。在小说的后半部分，努里试图重新找回生活的意义，但无论是与露西的朋友贝弗肖的短暂关系，还是他对梅纳里家庭的道歉尝试，都无法让他摆脱内心的耻辱感。最终，努里回到露西的农场，发现女儿露西已怀孕，并似乎接受了与当地黑人农民佩特鲁斯的妥协。小说以努里放弃了一只流浪狗的生命作为结尾，象征着他对自己命运的无奈接受。耻通过努里的个人悲剧，深刻揭示了后种族隔离时代南非社会的复杂矛盾与权力变迁。库切以冷静而克制的笔触，探讨了暴力、权力、耻辱与生存的主题，迫使读者直面人性的阴暗面与历史的沉重负担。这部小说不仅是对个人堕落的反思，更是对一个国家集体创伤的深刻剖析。通过阅读这本小说，你也会将这种文学想象力迁移到当下的美国，理解60年代民权运动过后左派自由主义的高歌猛进，里根革命与新自由主义崛起后美国白人工人阶级与乡巴佬的悲歌。特朗普利用这种愤怒上台，联合同样来自南非的世界首富马斯克对国家机器和左派自由主义文化的清洗。一本书可以读出整个世界的脉搏。向老师也希望你能够进入这样畅快的英文原版阅读和有深度的书评写作。J.M. Coezee's Disgrace is an unflinching examination of power, morality, and post-apartheid South Africa, told through the lens of an aging academic, David Lurie, whose personal fall from grace mirrors the broader reckoning of a country grappling with its historical traumas. At the heart of the novel's devastating impact lies the brutal rape of Lurie's daughter, Lucy, a scene that resists simple moral binaries and instead forces the reader into an agonizing meditation on power, submission, and survival. The first time I read Disgrace, I was visiting New Orleans during the winter. The Airbnb room I stayed in was unbearably cold, an unsettling contrast to the warmth in the South I had expected. Outside, cold rain fell steadily, while inside, wrapped in the layers, I tore through Coezee's novel in a single sitting. It felt as if I had entered a world entirely removed from New Orleans, a place where the damp chill of my temporary lodgings mirrored the emotional desolation of Coezee's South Africa. The novel's relentless philosophical intensity pulled me into an unfamiliar yet unshakably real space, where every word carried the weight of history, of reckoning, of a quiet yet searing despair. Years later, I had the opportunity to participate in a discussion dedicated to Coezee's work. Having already been drawn into the austere, precise world of Disgrace, I was captivated by the revelation that Coetzee often rewrote his passages dozens of times, treating his prose as a kind of philosophical experiment. His process, monastic in its discipline, reflected the very themes he explored: pain, endurance, and the relentless pursuit of something just beyond the grasp of resolution. It was during this discussion that I had learned that Coetzee had endured a period of philosophical nihilism before writing Disgrace, an existential void that the novel captures with devastating clarity. His prose, distilled through tireless revision, embodies his struggle, producing a novel where silence often speaks louder than words, where omission is as piercing as the violence it conceals. The relationship between Laurie and Lucy is central to the novel's exploration of shifting power and identity. Laurie, a man of intellectual arrogance and old-world literary sensibilities, struggles to comprehend his daughter's choice, especially in the aftermath of her assault. His initial reaction to Lucy's rape is one of paternal outrage. He wants justice, vengeance, or at least an acknowledgement of the horror that has befallen her. Lucy, however, does not conform to his expectations. She refuses to seek retribution, refuses even to frame herself as a victim. This disconnect between father and daughter highlights the generational and ideological chasm between them. Laurie, used to a world where he holds authority, finds himself powerless, not only against the violence inflicted upon Lucy, but also against her refusal to process it in a way he believes she should. Lucy, on the other hand, embraces a dark realism. He understands her position in the new South Africa in a way her father cannot. She sees her rape not merely as a personal violation, but as a part of a broader historical and societal shift, something that must be endured rather than avenged. In this way, Disgrace does not just explore the themes of power and submission at the societal level, but also within the intimate, fraught bond between a father and daughter. Laurie is forced to confront his own irrelevance in both Lucy's life and the changing world around him. He cannot protect her, nor can he dictate how she should respond to her trauma. This realization marked his true disgrace, not just as a man fallen from professional and social grace, but as a father inescapable of bridging the divide between himself and his daughter. One of the most haunting aspects of Disgrace is how Coetzee presents Lucy's rape not as a sensationalized moment of violence, but as an event laden with unspoken, inescapable weight. The attack, carried out by 3 black men in her rural farmhouse, is not described in explicit detail, yet its implications reverberate to the rest of the novel. We, as readers, are forced into Laurie's position, powerless to intervene, struggling to comprehend. Coetzee's restraint makes the horror all the more palpable. This choice mirrors his larger literary philosophy. What remains unsaid carries more weight than what is detailed. But Lucy's reaction in the aftermath of the rape is what truly unsettles Laurie, and by extension, the reader. She refuses to leave, refuses to seek justice, and most disturbingly, refuses to see herself as a victim in the way her father demands. In a devastating moment, she says, "Perhaps that's what I must learn to accept, to start at ground level with nothing." Her words suggest a chilling submission, not just to the black man who violated her, but to a historical structure in which violence against white South African is entangled with the legacies of colonialism and apartheid. Lucy's reaction stands in stark contrast to Laurie's perspective, who sees the event in the deeply personal, individual terms. His daughter as a wronged woman, his own helplessness as a father, his inability to restore order. But Lucy seems to view it through a different, more unsettling paradigm, not simply as an act of personal violation, but as a transaction within a larger framework of post-apartheid power dynamics. Coetzee presents Lucy's refusal to seek revenge as both infuriating and profound. It is a surrender not to her attackers, but to the reality of the world she inhabits. She understands that the South Africa she lives in is not the one her father recognizes. Her endurance is not about justice, but about survival. She chooses to stay on the farm, even as Laurie sees it as an unfathomable decision. In her choice, Coetzee challenges the reader's assumptions about the strength and dignity, making us question whether defiance must always take the form of outward resistance. Coetzee's Disgrace is not a novel that offers comfort, nor does it provide easy moral frameworks for the readers. The rape of Lucy is not just an act of violence, it is a manifestation of tensions, the wounds, and the unresolved traumas of a changing nation. It is an event that forces both its characters and its readers to interrogate their own understanding of justice, power, and survival. Ultimately, Disgrace is a novel that lingers, not because it provides resolution, but because it refuses to do so. Coetzee does not moralize. He does not give us the solace of a clear path forward. Instead, he leaves us with the chilling uncertainty of Lucy's quiet, devastating endurance, a reminder that some wounds are not meant to heal, but to be carried. As I reflect on my own engagement with Coetzee's work, from the icy solitude of the New Orleans winter to the philosophical intensity of scholarly discussion, I see Disgrace not only as a story of a post-apartheid reckoning, but as an experiment in the limits of human endurance, written by a man who saw writing as his fate, who left behind accolades to live quietly, face the ocean, and continue the struggle of putting thought into words.